Hello, programmers! Today we're going to talk about a classic machine learning problem of iris classification. This data set was made famous by a biologist, Ronald Fisher, and I found these lovely pictures of the 3 different species of irises on Wikipedia. So the data set that we're looking at keeps track of 4 different features: the length of the sepals, the width of the sepals, the length of the petals, the width of the petals, and I know so little about gardening, I had to Google search what even is a sepal versus a petal. I know what it is. So I found this little picture, this sepal, this leaf in between the petals. So we're measuring those different lengths to try to figure out what type of classification this iris has. The easiest way to pull in these data sets is to use sklearn. That command may take a while because there are a lot of data sets and some of them can be big. Let me pull in just the iris data set into a variable. And you might wonder, what is this? We're just playing around with it to get a look at what's in the data set before we make a program to actually train the machine learning model. And we look and we see it's a bunch. Well, a bunch is like a dictionary. We can look at the keys. We've got all the data. That's the width and the length of the sepals and the petals. We've got the targets, which are the 3 different flowers would we categorize that each of those data samples as. We've got frame, target names, description. Let's look at some of these. We'll look at the iris description. And that tells us everything about what the data set contains, the 3 different types of irises that we're classifying, some information about the min, max, and mean, and standard deviation. I could say, let me pull out just the data and take a look at that. And there's 150 different samples of flowers, and we've got the 4 different things that we're keeping track of: the lengths and the widths of the petals and the sepals. The target names the 3 different types of irises. So now we'll know when we actually look at the data. I'll go ahead and put that in a variable, iris.target, instead of thinking of them as 0s and 1s and 2s. The 0 goes to the iris setosa, the 1 goes to the versicolor, the 2 goes to the virginica. And we notice that they're not scrambled at the beginning. All of our iris setosas are at the beginning, 50 of them, 50 of the versicolors, and then 50 of the virginicas. What else could we look at? We could look at iris. We looked at the target names. What about the feature names? And so we can tell that the data has the sepal length first in centimeters, then the width in centimeters, petal length, and petal width. Before we get into the iris data, let's talk about the classification with a 2-dimensional example. Let's say I want to create a boundary line between the red stars and the blue dots. So I could put this line here, and that does a perfect separation. I could use this line, I could use this line, this line. There's many different options. With support vector machines, we're going to pick the closest points to our boundary line, and that becomes our margin. So we've got this little red star is the closest point to this boundary line, and then we'll have an equal distance over here for the margin to our closest blue point. And in fact, you could draw a line that is parallel to the boundary for the decision and includes your support vector, and it kind of looks like you're driving on a highway and you've got a center line in the middle here. With the Python code we're looking at, we can actually figure out which points were selected as the support vectors. And in my case, I've only got 1 star, but there could have been another star on this line. There could be more than 2 different support vectors. If I were to move all the points but the 2 points that are currently my support vectors, it would not actually change the decision boundary. I tried down here moving all my red points, and it left the decision boundary the same, and those margins are the same. Same over here. If you look, I'm actually still having the 2 points that are 2, 1 and 3, 1. Those are still our support vectors. So we can do whatever we want with the other points as long as we keep them on their side of the boundary line, and our boundary is going to be the same. Let's say I move one of the points that's the support vector, like I'll move this blue point. Well, that is totally going to change the decision boundary. I moved it over here, and now we've got a bit of a slant instead of a vertical line for our decision boundary. So if you move any of the other points, it's not going to change things, but if you move one or both of these support vector points, then you're going to make a decision boundary shift. So I made a little program. Not only am I importing the data sets from sklearn, but also the support vector machine module. And the support vector machine, I'm going to call a function to create a support vector classifier. I will train that, fit it with the data, which has all of our lengths of the sepals and the petals, and then the real results of which of the 3 type of irises there are. And now my model is able to do a prediction of a sample that it has never seen before, and I've got the 4 different dimensions, and based on that it's going to predict, is it a 0, a 1, or a 2? And we can run that, and based on our data, we're predicting it's the first class of irises. And this predict function, notice that I'm passing in a Python list with just one thing in it. It's like a list of lists. We can do more than one classification at the same time. And here I just added another plant, sample sizes for the sepal lengths, widths, and petal length and width, and we'll now be able to classify 2 samples at once. The first one is the iris setosa, and the second one is the iris virginica, but trying to remember which one's 0, which one's 1, which is 2 is a little bit cumbersome, so let's improve our program. Instead of hard coding the different lengths, I went ahead and used user input, and I'm just going to do one prediction at a time, but now with just an if, else, I can print the English word for the type of iris that we've classified this as. So we'll go ahead and run it, and it's going to ask for input for the different lengths, and I'll start out with 2.5 centimeters, 7 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and then 2 centimeters, and then it classifies it as the 3rd type of plant. What is a support vector machine? Well, it tries to separate data into classes using a line or a surface. It would be a hyperplane if it's more than 3 dimensions. And the algorithm is going to figure out what points are closest to this line or plane or hyperplane, and use those to figure out where to separate the 2 classes. So it wants to be as far as possible away from the closest data points of each class, maximize that margin between the classes. The best hyperplane is one that maximizes the margin. It could be a line in this case. It could be a circle, so it doesn't have to be a straight line. Have all these different defaults that we're using with the support vector classification, and we can learn what each of these mean, but I am running out of time, and this video is not going to be painless if I go into too much more detail. So I'm going to stop right there and hope that you've enjoyed this machine learning video on support vector machines.